She always carried a deep gratitude for those who had rescued her, knowing with unwavering certainty that they would also ensure the safety of her precious baby. In October 2016, on a chilly and blustery day in South Africa, fate intervened when a minuscule tree squirrel tumbled from her nest. Simon Serpentine happened to be visiting a friend's house when the squirrel, later named Dingechi, descended into the yard. With heart-wrenching cries, Dingechi desperately sought her mother's comforting presence. But alas, her mother never returned. When we made the decision to assist this little one, we held very little hope that she would survive, Serpentine confided to the dodo. Unbeknownst to Serpentine at the time she brought Dingechi home, this would mark merely the initial chapter in a tale destined to unfold over a considerable span. During that moment, Serpentine's primary concern was ensuring Dingechi's survival through the night. When they found her, Dingechi's fragile body was chillingly cold, and her evident fear was palpable. Serpentine noted that her eyes had yet to open. They took her in, carefully nurturing her with warmth, and gradually her distress subsided. Serpentine and her boyfriend, Christophe, found themselves thrust into a crash course on squirrel rearing, as they had limited knowledge on the subject. I had no prior experience in raising a baby squirrel, so I had to conduct extensive research, Serpentine admitted. They had to wake up multiple times throughout the night to feed the tiny Dingechi, an unforeseen challenge that left Serpentine astonished at the demands of squirrel parenting. Beyond the fundamental necessities like warmth and sustenance, Dingechi also possessed distinct preferences. She vehemently resisted the notion of being confined to a cage. Serpentine ingeniously fashioned a cozy nest for Dingechi inside a shoebox, allowing her to slumber in comfort. This also didn't quite work for Dingechi. It was only a matter of time until she refused to sleep in the shoebox and preferred the bed with me. Serpentine obviously had a life with other responsibilities that she couldn't just abandon because she'd taken in a baby squirrel, so she brought Dingechi along. She went with me to work every day for the first 3 months. Serpentine said I normally fed her when I woke up and then get ready, and then she got into my scarf shirt or anywhere warm close to my body, and off we went to work. Serpentine knew that the time she had with Dingechi was limited. The squirrel was still a wild animal, and it would be wrong to keep her locked up in a house forever. We always knew that the day would come for us to release her and say goodbye, Serpentine said. After a few months, Sign decided it was time to reintroduce her to the wild. Serpentine happens to live in one of the wildest places in the world. We live in the Greater Kruger National Park in South Africa, and everything is wild around us, Serpentine said. There are many dangerous animals around us that she can run into, and she needs to be ready for that. The couple took Dingechi into the yard and put her down on the grass to see what she would do. Next thing, she got into a tree and her natural instincts immediately kicked in, Serpentine said. It was pretty amazing and sad at the same time. As hard as it was to say goodbye, Serpentine knew it was best for Dingechi to be wild, and that seemed like it was the end of the story. It wasn't Dingechi was happy to come back for a visit, she came back again and again. Every day for the first few months was a bit stressful saying goodbye. I always thought that this could be maybe the last time I see her, Serpentine said, but then every day when I came home, she would be there either waiting or maybe she'd seen me walking home from a tree or something, and then a few minutes later, she would run inside to come and say hello. As it turned out, she never really took off. She always came back, Serpentine said. We eventually started to leave the window open for her during the day while working so she can come and go as she wants, and even though Dingechi knows how to make her nests and trees, Serpentine often wakes up to find Dingechi snuggled up beside her in bed. She knows this house is a safe and warm place. She said by the time Dingechi was just barely 6 months old. This had become a common routine, and even though Dingechi was a growing squirrel, she seemed to get quite pudgy around the edges. We realized she was picking up a lot of weight, Serpentine said. We knew she made a few squirrel friends, but also thought that she was not yet sexually active. We then discovered that she was pregnant. Dingechi decided to stay in the house most of the time during her pregnancy. She made a nest in a drawer using toilet paper. Then one night, the couple returned from dinner and realized that something sad happened. She was not in the bed or anywhere to be found, Serpentine remembered. We thought she left, and because she was pregnant, she might have decided to be wild after all, but that was not the case. Dingjichi was in labor in her toilet paper nest. We had to assist her during birth as she fell asleep and did not have any energy to complete the process, Serpentine said. Sadly, the baby was stillborn. I believe she was not ready because she was barely 6 months old, she said. Just over a year later, though, Dingjichi started looking similarly plump. She returned to the house and was given as many rolls of toilet paper as she wanted to construct a new nest. In fact, she constructed several nests around the house. On April 24th, Dingjichi went into labor for the second time. This time, Dingjichi became a mom to a healthy baby girl Squirrel, and she has let Serpentine be by her side every step of the way. There is so much trust, Serpentine said. She allows us to look, touch, and hold her baby. Witnessing Dingjichi's journey as she embraces motherhood with her newborn is a cherished treasure for Serpentine, one she could never have anticipated when she first rescued the tiny squirrel almost 2 years ago. Despite Dingjichi's untamed nature and her preference for spending time outdoors, she seems to have recognized Serpentine's home as a secure haven to raise her offspring. We never anticipated her decision to stay with us, Serpentine shared, but she chose to. Serpentine marveled at Dingjichi's intelligence and resourcefulness, now evident in her unwavering dedication as a mother. The bond we share with her, and the bond she shares with us, is indescribable, Serpentine reflected. It truly is the most extraordinary experience I have ever encountered.